Hello and welcome to another video from Athariel Gaming, and today we're going to be looking at the Emil I, which is a tier 8 Swedish heavy tank. So in this we were streaming our 12-hour marathon session on Twitch the other day, and we actually managed to achieve our Ace Tanker. So I thought it would be good to share that with the community. I don't get Ace Tankers that often, so I thought one, it would be nice to share it, and two, a chance for you to see what I was using when I got the Ace Tanker, and then how the gameplay unfolded. So in terms of what I've got on the tank, we have a pretty poor crew. It's a crew that we've taken all the way up through the Swedish line, but we have one skill each. So we have our Sixth Sense, we have our Deadeye, and we also have our off-road driving, and we're in the process of skilling up Brothers in Arms, but it's not there yet. In terms of equipment, we're using just standard equipment as most of the time you see on my videos. I don't actually have any Bond or Bounty equipment at all. At this moment, not to say I don't want it, I just don't have it. And we're using improved ventilation. We're using a vertical stabilizer and a rotation device. Now, that's going to significantly help with the turret traverse, but more importantly, it's going to help with the dispersion, and as it says there, minus 10% dispersion during vehicle movement and traverse, as well as during gun traverse and after firing. So it will certainly help with those second and third shots. We didn't take any directives because we already had Sixth Sense, and I didn't want to spend the credits because I'm also short on credits, and it's nice with a tier 8 if you can go positive. We take a mix of normal and premium rounds, and also one clip of high explosive. Normal rounds there, 360 alpha damage, not too bad at tier 8 these days, but not the best, and 217 mil penetration, also not the best. The premium rounds taking it just above 240, which is okay, and depending if you get up tiered in matches, it can be quite difficult, and you will need to be using those premium rounds. Reload is pretty good, 3 seconds between the shots in the magazine, and it does take 25 seconds to reload the whole magazine. So as always with autoloaders, having to be careful not to get caught isolated, because if you're isolated and alone, you can shoot your 3 rounds and get some good damage, but then if the enemy's been smart and been counting your shots, he'll be following you around any corners to finish you off with 25 seconds in his pocket to do so. Not bad hit points. Hull armor, not great. Turret armor, very good at 180 with some nice sloping. And if you're in a tier 8 matchup, you can bounce, or below, you can bounce pretty good on the turret. Though as soon as people switch to those gold rounds, particularly heat rounds, with any decent penetration values, or you start coming up against good tier 9, tier 10 tanks, your turret might as well have no armor. And so one of the advantages of playing this tank, hull down, utilizing its strong turret and gun depression, is completely neutralized in those higher tier games, which makes it much more difficult to play the tank to its strengths. I find the mobility on this tank pretty poor. I find it quite slow, which surprised me, given when you see some of the other tanks running around like Kranvagens, they just seem to be much faster. Now, I don't have a Kranvagen because I'm on the road to get one. They just feel faster when you fight against them, so I don't know if it's one of those optical illusions until you get to play the tank, but the Emil definitely feels sluggish in that regard, and as you'd expect from a heavy tank, not great camo and only mediocre view range. And of course I'm not taking coated optics, and I don't have any of the view range skills on my crew. Also, no premium consumables except the fire extinguisher. I always take a premium fire extinguisher. The main reason being is, of course, how often do you get set on fire? Maybe 1 in 10 games or less. And at 20,000 credits over 10 games, that's only 2,000 credits. So worth taking the automatic fire extinguisher. But everything else, as you can see, is pretty standard. So let's jump in and actually see the game. Now, I normally, when I'm making videos to look at gameplay and maybe provide some tips that comes out of that gameplay, I try and stick with those games which are average or above average rather than the 1 in 1,000 games. But as I said before, I don't get Ace Tankers that often, so I thought it would be nice to share it with the community. So let's jump into that now. Okay, so here we are on Fisherman's Bay. We find ourselves in a... we are up tiered, so there are Plenty of tier 9s on both teams. There are a lot of tank destroyers with 6 tank destroyers on each side. Those also being high tier tank destroyers, so we do have an FV on our team. There's Object 268 version 4 on the enemy team. And straight away I was thinking about, normally in this tank I'd like to go and play the mid-ridge. But with the amount of high tier tanks out there, and plus some of those tank destroyers, like a Scorpion for example, 2 Scorpions on the enemy team, switching to their premium rounds, they will also go through the turret. So the ability to play that mid-ridge and benefit with my turrets, not so easy in this game, and therefore I do decide I'm going to go into the town. I'm going to support those tier 9s and 10s in the town with the aim that I'm going to look to try and do that sort of auto-reloading assassination. Wait for one of our tanks to engage an enemy heavy tank, come round the side or the flank, or take the track to lock him in position, and then put the extra damage into them. So that's my plan. We've come into the city, and as expected, when you have games with lots of tank destroyers, it does feel quite static. And certainly again early on in Fisherman's Bay, most of the action centered on the mid-ridge, and you can see already our tier 10 M5Y, he's gone to the mid-ridge, which is a pretty good location for him given his turret and his height and everything, and he's come up against a Barask in an AE phase 1. Our M48 Patton has been incredibly brave. He's pushed up hard and fast up the 1 line to get spotting on the enemy team and located the Centurion Action 10 and the FV 183B. So pressure being placed on the left flank there, but the town incredibly quiet, so nothing being seen in the town, and I certainly don't wish to suddenly rush out. Now with the 257 moving around and the VZ51 not spotting anything, I'm deciding to play it a little bit safe right now, and oh dear, this is looking pretty bad. We've lost 3 tanks. The M5Y is gone, the Progetto 65 is gone, the FV4005 is gone, so we've already lost 3 of our tier 10 tanks, which is not a good start. The enemy also did lose one of their tier 10s as well, but they still have 3 tier 10s left remaining. All we have is our M48 Patton, and a Super Conqueror comes round the corner, and there you go. We went straight for the track on the Super Conqueror, locked him in place, and we kept putting the fire in the tracks to lock him in place. And that Super Conqueror, he came round the corner, and we were able to get 700 damage from the shots we put into him and 1,694 assistance damage from shooting the track. And that's exactly what I wanted to do, is get the track, utilize the auto reloader to keep them locked in place. And now with the loss of our M5Y, I'm really concerned about the mid-ridge, and rightly so. The enemies are piling up against the mid-ridge, and I want to get spotting up there, and I'm going to have to brave it. I've taken a hit from the E50M. He also took my ammo rack, but I was able to repair it. That E50M there, having to be careful of him. He will go through the armor on my turret. There's a Scorpion, 2 Scorpions sighted up there, as well as the Barask. So I know I'm going into an area where there are a lot of enemy tanks. I noticed that I'm on my own, but I do know that I do have a little bit of support on one flank from the Object 257 in the town, and I can also see the STR-VS1 also providing some support on the flank. So let's go and see what I can spot. And we continue to lose tanks. The 122 TM now gone as well. So it's currently 5 of our tanks down for only 2 of the enemies. Not looking great. So we are trying to play cautiously on the mid-ridge to get some spotting and intelligence for our team. So we are quite a way into the battle. We're 4.5 minutes in, and the battle's looking pretty shaky for us. We say we've lost a lot of tanks. We're still down 2,000 hit points as well. The town remains to be pretty quiet, so I think I definitely made the right choice to come up onto the ridge to actually try and have some more impact in the game, because I wasn't achieving much in the town. Now the Object 257 starting to make a play. The pattern there has been able to survive, and he keeps the spotting on the 215B, but the AE Phase 1 looks like he's also coming to challenge, but he's going to have to brave our tank destroyers to do so. So I'm coming over to this side to see if there's anything I can get a shot off, either on the AE Phase 1 or the 218 5B. And there's also now an IS-3A who did put that shot into me in the town. He's also relocated on his flank, and he's trying to get some shots in there. I can't see those tanks. Now, can I see and get a shot in the Brask? No, but the 257 does finish him off, and I get the spotting assistance from the mid-ridge. Now, can I see any of the Scorpions? I can see one Scorpion has left, and we're starting to make our impact felt on the enemy team. We've clawed back a little bit there. We're now 6 tanks killed for 5 of theirs, as our ISU 152K deletes the IS-3A, and in terms of hit points, we're now rebalanced the game. Now, I know one of the Scorpions left. I know the Barask is gone. I can see the E50M has relocated, so that gives me the confidence that I can push up here much further to see if I can get further spotting on the enemy team without being challenged. And here is a Scorpion who is not looking at me. Now, I'm spotted. He's seen me. He's turning his gun. And I managed to get 2 shots into him. And at this point, I'm thinking, yes, this is definitely worth to follow up and fire the final shot. I don't have to peek too far. I managed to get the Scorpion. I know that the enemy team are looking at our 3 heavies that have pushed through the town. I managed to get the shots off, and we also get the damage upon spotting there. So we're now 1,750 damage and 2,200 assistance, which is pretty nice. T103 there getting punished, and we're waiting for our reload. You can see the magazine reload there so slow. Now, I thought he was going to hide behind the rock. He didn't, so we're going to get at least one more shot out of him, which we do manage to get. We get the second shot into him for no damage, but we do critical hit, and then we do get the assistance as well. So looking pretty good so far, and we have definitely turned the game around. We're now plus 940 hit points. Pressure on the E50M and the AMX as our heavies make their way through the town. Our tank destroyers still duking it out with the enemy tank destroyers for not much gain at the moment. And what I want to do here is I want to focus on supporting our heavies, as I think that is the best play. What I have to be careful is I know there's a Scorpion down there, and I also know the tank destroyers can shoot me from that top left-hand corner. So I want to come round where I can get fire on the guys, the enemy in that northern area of the town, like this AMX. But when I get revealed, not then be shot by all the tank destroyers. So I've got hard cover on my left. I get one shot into the AMX, and VZ51 is able to finish him off. And we're looking for our next target, the E50M, and we're pretty sure he is still in that location, and there he is. But he's well hidden behind the building. Now, he's definitely going to move back, and he does, and we're able to get a shot into him. Can we get the final one? We can't. He does disappear. We think we can get a blind shot on where he was going to be. Unfortunately, he did actually move behind hard cover and a building, and that blind shot didn't connect, and we are now in our 25-second reload. But we definitely are there providing supporting fire to our heavies, who continue to progress, and now they will put some pressure on that E50. Now, the other thing to watch out for is the Scorpion. I don't know where the Scorpion is or where he's gone, so we now need to think about where do we think the Scorpion will have gone. Now, if I was the Scorpion, I'd probably be thinking I'd gone up into that top corner. So I'm trying to peek round to see if the Scorpion has moved up into that top corner. Still being aware that if I push too close, and I'm utilising those view range rings on the mini-map to see where I can be spotted from. The E50 now revealed, there's no shot on him, and our 257 finishes him off, and the enemy 215, the enemy tier 10 tank destroyer is now also destroyed. But we still have 3 tank destroyers. A T30 does a huge amount of damage, and we get some spot on him. There's one shot. There's a second shot. We take a hit from the Scorpion. We know what his reload is, so we might as well finish the magazine. I look to see where the Scorpion shot me from, and try to indicate to our heavies where the Scorpion's located, which is in those bushes at the back. So the Scorpion is in the middle there, and there you go, exactly where I clicked. Our heavies were waiting for him to be revealed, and he is instantly destroyed. And this is definitely looking like we're going to win this game. So where we started in a bit of a shaky, rocky start, we've been able to actually turn it around and win this game. Heavy's now looking to come up for the mopping up operation, but still a T30 and an ISU out there who are pretty dangerous, so we must be careful. And a T54E1, which shouldn't be underestimated. Now, we know they're all in the corner, but just rushing out, particularly with 492 hit points, for my tank, not smart, and that T30 will hurt me. We get a shot into him, and we actually hit his track, even though we were going for the damaging shot at that range. And in hitting his track, we also do get the tracking assistance damage, even though we didn't do the damage. The ISU there revealed, and we're not able to get the shot into the ISU. Now we're coming around. Can we see? Now I've pressed the auto aim just to get my turret onto his location as I begin to move, just so I can keep the turret where I want it to be as we move. And maybe even if I have to snap a shot, though, I have been, I can't say been very successful in firing on the move in the Emil. It doesn't seem to do very well with those shots. So we've definitely played a patient, considered gameplay. We relocated from the town to the mid-ridge, and I think that was absolutely vital to deny the enemy the mid-ridge. And then as we were pressing our gains, I was able to maximize my support to the team. And there we go. We finish off the final enemy tank, and we complete the game with 3,500 damage, 3,100 assistance, which totaled a 5,800 combined, and netted us 1,353, I believe, base XP, which was good enough for a Mastery Badge Ace Tanker on the Emil. Let's jump back to the garage. There we are. That was our Emil 1 getting its Ace Tanker. So I was very pleased with that. As I said, I don't get that many Ace Tankers, so it's great to show it. Utilising standard equipment, no premium consumables. Yes, we used some gold ammo, but we were up tiered in the game as well. I think I was really happy with the way we played that game, the relocating from the town to the mid-ridge, and I'm very much an advocate of not giving enemies key locations on the map for free. That often, or certainly sometimes, does get me killed, because you're going into those locations with not very much support, if at all. But I'm not there looking to throw myself away. It's more about making sure that we can provide that intelligence to the team, support from those locations, and at least deny the enemy their freedom of action on those key points of a map. So on Fisherman's Bay, it was the mid-ridge. Other maps, it could be maps like mines or areas where there are key hill positions that certainly dominate the map. And as we saw there, that mid-ridge, it does absolutely dominate the map. You can provide fire support into the city. You can provide fire support over to tank destroyers, which are spotted out on the western flank. So the mid-ridge there, a key location in the map, and you just can't let the enemy have it for free. So once our M5Y died, we went up there to challenge. And overall, I think, as with all these games where you have an excellent game, you need a little bit of luck that we were able to get the drop on the enemy, and the enemy team did fall back from the mid-ridge. I don't think they exploited it as best they could, and I didn't have to deal with too many gold rounds coming towards me, neutralising the turret armour of the Emil 1. Overall, my thoughts on the Emil 1, bit of a mixed bag, to be honest. You know, the auto reloader is nice. The autoloader is nice. But as always, once you've fired your magazine, that long reload time can leave you vulnerable. And I'm not very impressed with its mobility. And the turret armor can be neutralized quite effectively, which makes it very difficult for you to play the game. So, not my favorite heavy by any stretch, but we had a good game there. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like it, give it a thumbs down. Let me know why. That Ace Tanker game took place in our 12-hour marathon session, which we were running on Twitch, YouTube and gaming, where we stream all our live gameplay on Mondays, Thursdays and Sundays. So please feel free to join us for some of those live sessions, and we'd certainly be grateful if you had like, subscribe, follow in those various platforms. It helps us out a great deal and allows us to continue to produce content for both on the live streams and also for the YouTube channel here. So thank you for your support. It's much appreciated. You've been watching Atharial Gaming, and we'll see you on the battlefield.